YouTube found community, the Phantom AD fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to chat about one of my new favorite albums that came out earlier this year. The Phantom AD plays ghoulish rock and roll. So as you can tell by the picture next to me here, I don't own this thing physically yet, but I will soon. The Phantom AD is a guy I discovered while perusing through TikTok one day. He came up singing this groovy little song called I Go Where the Party Takes Me, wearing a full cape and just this like Dracula looking dark outfit with these cool glasses and this big hair, and I was like, this guy's got my attention. What's this gentleman up to? And I just started to follow him and went down the rabbit hole, and I am absolutely obsessed with how cool this guy is and the music he's creating and the whole vibe. The whole thing has completely caught my Vincent Price horror movie imagination. From what I can tell, and there isn't much to know from doing some casual research online, this was the project originally called Isaac Rother and the Phantoms. And I guess that came to an end at some point last year, and now the Phantom has been resurrected. The Phantom AD, after death, if you will. For those of you trying to figure out what I'm talking about here, the Phantom's music is very much in the style of like Psychobilly or the Nuggets box set, or just early 50s, mid 50s, early 60s rock and roll, absolutely with a Halloween vibe. There's songs about ghosts and goblins and, Universal movie monsters and haunted castles. The dedication to the vibe, the dedication to the authenticity, and the imagery that's created in these songs makes you feel like you're living inside of like a Scooby-Doo episode, but in the most cool, haunting, eerie way, but always with fun, and always like knowing that like, hey, you guys are all invited to this rock and roll party. It's gonna be a ghoulish time, so be careful, but man, it's gonna be fun. So speaking about the Phantom coming back, if you will, the Phantom AD, the opening track is basically an introduction. It's exactly that. It's explaining that the Phantom is risen again. He's back, he's ready for it, he's hungry. It's a really eerie, growling introduction to alert the listeners that, just when you thought it was over, Phantom's back, baby. And then you're just plunged into this song called MK Ultra Rock. And it's a wild, good rockin' time that kind of dabbles into like, what drug use can do and what other sort of like cartoonish imagery can lead to before following into the single that got me into him, I Go Where the Party Takes Me, and literally like the most perfect Halloween song of all time with a guitar riff in that chorus that will just live in your ears forever. It's perfect. And like I mentioned before, this song specifically calls out like the Universal movie monsters, the Wolfman, the Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, but they're all hanging out at this groovy party. It reminds me, there was a movie that came out years and years and years ago, and it's called Vampire Happening. It's some far out B movie. I think it may have been from Italy or something. I saw a dub of it years and years and years ago. But that's exactly what it is. It's like Count Dracula is hosting this party at his castle, and all these groovy monsters show up and have a 60s swinging good time. That's what this song reminds me of. I'm living for it. It's easily one of the best songs on the album and deserves rightly so to be a single. It really gives you an idea of what the album's flair and flavor sounds like, and a great representation of the Phantom himself. I think if you're going to hear any song from this record, this is the one to absolutely check out. The Brain That Wouldn't Die, perfect title for a monster movie. This one is all over the place in terms of storytelling. I feel like part of it is like part relationship-y about like with a person, and part of it might be actually about a brain and the relationship you have with your brain and what's going on behind these closed doors. So I think there's a lot of like, lyrical depth to this thing. It isn't just as surface level as a brain that wouldn't die. I think there's a lot going on deeper in this song, but man, this thing is just a rockin' good time. It reminds me of like a Buddy Holly-esque vibe, musically with the guitars, but the way it jumps around becomes more of a Stray Cat song at some point, or like I said before, Psychobilly. I mentioned the word flair before, and for those of you that don't know professional wrestling, there's a song on here called Ric Flair Rock, the next song on the record here. And there's so many woos in this song. And that was Rick's thing when he would be on the ring. He'd go woo, he was the party guy. And this song is just about like charisma, machismo, just being cool. I love the line wheelin', dealin', kiss stealin', rock and rollin', son of a gun. Like it's so good. There's a couple of instrumental tracks on the second half of this record as we lead into it with Dark Eyes and Ghoulruption. Both have absolutely phenomenal guitar riffage, if you will, sometimes with thunderous drums in the background. And just enough of a Halloween atmosphere to be creepy and spooky, but you're just entrenched in like the rock and roll madness that is just no vocals, a rockin' good time. Like a Wolfman actually sounds like an MC5 song to me. That guitar riff is so Wayne Kramer. Dan, 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 super Wayne Kramer. But just a really groovy little song. I'm gonna make you scream like a Wolfman. Ow! I mean, it's just fun. And then you get a cover of Hit Me Baby One More Time, the Britney Spears song, and it becomes a whole other beast of a song. It's atmospheric. It's got some great use of reverb, and the Phantom's voice on this thing is so perfect because like he kind of lets the growl down and has more of just his own melodic voice come out, which I think is really cool. He does that a couple of times on the album, but I mean for the most of the album he's doing the growl, which works. But the moments where he lets the growl down, I think, are more effective because it makes the growl, when it comes back, that much more in your face. But this version of Hit Me Baby One More Time, there's, you know, after he sings the chorus line, there's a little bit of an instrumental break before it goes to the next verse. And the way it just, like, explodes for those brief little seconds is a really cool use of that space, and it keeps you constantly intrigued. It's one of the best covers of that song I've ever heard. He does a cover of the Halloween theme song, which is just perfect, and then Bad Girls Only with these great background vocals doing the oh yeah bits are just fantastic with the girls doing the oh yeahs in the background. I love that, but it's your classic rock and roll song from the 50s about like, I don't want a good girl to bring home to mom, I want the bad girls, as the Phantom would say. And then he ended the record with Gloomy Sunday. This is actually one of my favorites on the album because this one like really takes its time. His vocals are a lot more tame and a little more weary in parts, but the blend that happens with other vocals throughout the track is cool. It builds up, it comes back down again. It's a much more reflective track, a much more dynamic track, a little more moody in terms of like a sadder reflection, but it's got its moments of really feeling itself too. Yeah, this album has been one of the surprises for me of 2025. It came out back in January. It's July as I'm filming this now. And I'm really glad I got to hear it this year because it's 100% going to be on my list of best albums of the year. If you're looking for a rockin' good time that doesn't take itself too seriously, that just wants to have fun for the sake of fun, and then you throw in that like, you know, walking into a Vincent Price horror movie or a Hammer Films esque film, you know, it's like it's just one of those like groovy good times. You watch one of those like 60s, 50s B movies, those really cheesy or like really gory horror movies. This has that feel. It's got that spirit, but the biggest takeaway from it all is that it's authentic. You know, nothing about this comes across as cheesy or like, you know, hokey or lame. You know, everything about this is like, nah, this dude's feeling it. And it's a palpable energy that you just want to be a part of. So the Phantom AD plays Ghoulish rock and roll is easily an 8 for me. I love this record. And it's one of these albums you hear and you're like, ooh, I can't wait to hear what he does next. Because like, this is good. This is really good. But you know that there's something even better brewing in the behind the scenes for whatever the next album might be. And I'm excited for whatever that's going to be. But I'd love to see him in concert someday. I'm really excited to see that at some point. He just did a tour a couple months ago, so I missed him. But yeah, really excited to see where this goes. So the Phantom AD plays Ghoulish rock and roll. Highly, highly, highly recommend if you just want a rockin' good time that's kind of spooky at the same time. Sometimes you just want to get scared, but don't worry, the Phantom's got your back. My name is Giggens. This has been so much fun to chat about this album. I believe it's online to buy a physical copy of, which I'm going to look up right now and see if I can grab one for myself. It's definitely streaming everywhere, so give it a spin. But my name is Giggens. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.